2025 will be the most important year for Marvel Television, and it isn't even close. If you don't believe me, take a look at this recently released sizzle reel highlighting all the shows dropping next year. Oh, you've already seen that because it's 2 weeks old and I'm late to talking about this? Okay, you know what, that's fair. That one's on me, I got caught up watching Agatha, but it's clear as day that Marvel is gearing up for an insane 2025. The film side of things is already filled with some real heavy hitters as they look to re-establish box office dominance. But the television division, try saying that 5 times fast, I'll wait, is in a very interesting position right now. Coming out of 2023, it was clear that Marvel TV needed to change. While Loki was a smash hit and is widely considered to be their crowning achievement, Secret Invasion happened. For all of its faults, the best thing to come out of that show was the necessary and unfortunately inevitable wake-up call that the studio had to make some changes to prevent something like that from ever happening again. And they did just that. The entire 2024 slate shifted around as Disney took their foot off the gas and gave Marvel time to actually work on these projects again. Originally, the mandate they gave Marvel was to make as many things for Disney Plus as possible, and to the surprise of no one, that plan was doomed to fail. Even for a studio as large as Marvel, there's a limit to how much you can do at a single time. It's impossible to work on all these projects at once without neglecting any, and we all know the result of that. But here's the thing. We seem to finally be out of Marvel Television's too much era as we enter the most promising year of the studio's history. 2024's delays weren't dismays as Marvel put this year to good use and gave each show the time and attention they deserved without the stress of a release date. That meant they could shoot entire shows like Wonder Man largely in secret while they wrap up post-production on Ironheart and still let the CGI artists see their families. I know, an insane concept for this industry. This trailer genuinely gives me a lot of hope for the future because despite only offering brief glimpses at this lineup, they all look really great. And that shows me that they're confident in what they have to offer. I know 6 shows, 3 live action, 3 animated, may be a lot in one year for some people and make it seem like they haven't learned anything, but from my perspective this is actually a great sign. It's the rare instance of both quantity and hopefully quality coming together. Marvel has built up a backlog of new shows that they've been working on, and it's now time for them to be released. Think of 2025 as one last action-packed year of monthly Marvel shows before they catch up to themselves and can switch over to the new reduced schedule. The MCU has already been delayed enough, so I totally understand putting them all out next year instead of spacing them out over 3 years and having to delay things again. If they're all ready, you may as well put it out there instead of sitting on finished shows just for the sake of it. As long as nothing is impacting the quality of the series, I don't have a problem with it at all. It may be too much for some people, but have you considered that I don't have a life? And I live for this stuff, so I'm thriving right now. And personally, I love the MCU being more like the comics in that you don't have to watch every show or movie and you can just stick to what you like. But if you do, those crossovers are going to feel even more special and it'll be a more rewarding viewing experience. We'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out in a year's time, but as it stands right now, I feel like we're about to see an incredible run of television from the studio. What's most important heading into 2025 though is Marvel doing the work to rebuild their reputation. I'm a self-admitted MCU shill. I literally just said how I live for this stuff. There's no hiding it, so I didn't mind the overwhelming amount of shows and movies they had from 2021 to 2023. All that being said, for a lot of people it burned them out on the MCU. Whether that be losing track because of the sheer volume of shows or people thinking the quality fell off, Marvel's reputation has been forever changed. 2025 needs to fix that if they want the MCU to surpass the heights it once hit. They have to come back stronger than ever and show people that the changes they made were actually effective. That they've learned their lessons on how to make shows that are more than just 6-hour movies and deliver on consistent and quality storytelling. With the wide variety of projects they have to offer, it'll be a huge test to see where the studio stands and if all these behind-the-scenes changes have led to an all-new, all-different MCU. Okay, now that I've given my thoughts on the current state of Marvel Television, it's time to take a hard pivot into the second half of this video. Yeah, it's just gonna be me talking more in depth about this sizzle reel, because I have a lot to say about all these shows, their production, and how they fit into the future of the MCU. Up first is without a question the biggest and most anticipated series Marvel has ever produced, that being Daredevil Born Again. I honestly don't think I've ever been more excited for a Marvel project in general. This is rivaling Infinity War and Endgame hype for me. It's no secret that Daredevil is my favorite show of all time, and everything that we've heard since the rework has got me crazy excited. Announced in 2022, shot in 2023, then reshot in 2024, Born Again has gone through a wild development process. While things weren't looking good at first and there were some baffling creative decisions going on behind the scenes, it genuinely seems like the rework has done wonders for this show and completely changed it for the better. Not only will it be more directly connected to the Netflix series, but Foggy, Karen, Bullseye, and Vanessa are all returning and picking up right where they left off. With a series like Daredevil isn't too effects heavy either, they'd have a year to get this show put together, which is more than enough time to make those 9 episodes look gorgeous. Expectations are sky high, but I really think they have a great shot at not just living up to them, them, but surpassing them. For legal reasons, I cannot confirm nor deny if I have seen a leaked trailer for the series. But if I had, I would just say that it gave me a lot of faith that they're gonna do Daredevil justice here. The quick glimpses of officially released HD footage in this reel that I can admit to watching look fantastic, so I'm feeling really good about this. I especially love to see what they're doing with Matt and Fisk's dynamic this time around. Last time we saw them together, Matt was painting Rabbit in a snowstorm with the Kingpin's brains and threatening to ruin his life, but that was at least 8 years ago in continuity. A lot has changed since then, and I think it'll be a really interesting and fun twist to make them actually work together. It's mutually assured destruction if they end up fighting again, so to see them get on the same page against a common threat and for the betterment of the city is really exciting to me. I have a feeling that Season 1 is going to act as the calm before a very bad storm for Matt in Season 2. The common enemy between the two looks to be Muse, a villain I cannot wait to see in live action. If you haven't already, please do yourself a favor and read Charles Soule's run with Muse in it because he's one of my favorite Daredevil villains. Muse is a twisted serial killer who uses the bodies of his victims to create gruesome works of art and send a message to the Kingpin. He's the perfect kind of villain to unite Matt and Fisk for the greater good, as Matt looks to stop people from dying while Fisk wants to stop seeing his name slandered. We've only gotten one good look at him so far, but god did they nail his design. It's a perfect translation from the comics, and I'd go as far to say it's even an improvement. Being able to see his eyes under the mask makes him all the more terrifying. Those beady red pupils glaring at you with evil intent is so unsettling, and I love it. I cannot tell you enough just how excited I am to see him absolutely ruin Matt's life. He's been consistently happy for way too long, and everybody knows that Daredevil isn't allowed to be happy for more than 5 minutes at a time. Someone I'm even more excited to see here, though, is Jon Bernthal's Punisher. Not that I'd know, but I heard we got a good look at him in the leaked trailer with a beard, which was thrilling enough, allegedly. But seeing him back in that skull vest fighting alongside Daredevil just hits different. I'm praying to every god out there that we get a Punisher reboot spinning off from Born Again because the Netflix show barely scratched the surface with Frank, and I need to see more. Either that or put him in like a Spider-Man movie or something. That dynamic would be wild to see on the big screen. Even if it's only for 3 episodes, I'm so happy to see the Punisher back home. Bernthal is one of the best cast characters of all time, and it feels like we've gotten so little time to actually spend with him, and now to see him back in this setting, not only alongside Daredevil, but in the MCU, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities for the character, and I cannot wait to see what they do with him. Obviously, we know Bullseye is going to be in this series as he comes to finish the job against Karen, and besides getting a rematch 7 years in the making with Daredevil, I need to see him face off with the Punisher at one point. Since Dex is coming after Karen, and she has very strong ties to the Punisher, it would make so much sense to have Frank step in to try and stop him. It would give us some really unique and creative fight scenes as Bullseye has to take on someone who won't hold back and is even more unhinged than him. I need this so badly, you don't understand. Please, I will do anything to see this confrontation. One final thing I just want to mention is that we're finally getting Daredevil swinging with his billy clubs in this. It has taken us way too long to get here because the Netflix budget was $8 and a dream, but God bless them, they tried their best. One of the things I'm most excited for in Born Again is this heightened reality that comes with being in the MCU. It's less realistic than the gritty nature of the Netflix series, so we can see Daredevil moving around like he's supposed to, as an agile acrobat jumping around at peak human performance. She-Hulk gave us a great test of what that can look like, so I am insanely hyped to see Born Again continue that. Just this one shot of him diving off the rooftop with his club has me bouncing around my room excited to see a fully realized version of the Man Without Fear. The biggest surprise in this entire sizzle reel, though, is that they actually showed us Wonder Man footage. This is a real show that's actually happening. We didn't all just collectively imagine it. Outside of literally 2 set photos that have leaked and a mention on Marvel's official podcast, this is the first time Marvel Studios has acknowledged Wonder Man's existence. Announced in 2022 and shot earlier this year, the series quietly went through its production without anyone even really noticing. Before this trailer, we didn't even have a logo for the show. It just existed in reports for the trades and kept getting skipped at every single big panel the studio was holding. I'm so glad to see them finally talking about it out in the open because I really think that Wonder Man is going to be special. Directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, not only one of my favorite filmmakers, but the director of movies such as Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Short Term 12, and currently working on Spider-Man 4, the series is going to be a 10-episode satire on Hollywood and the superhero movie genre. I love the idea of exploring what superhero movies are like in the MCU. It feels like such a modern take on the character and a really fun way to introduce him into the universe as an actor playing a hero and then actually becoming one. I assume the show is going to get very meta too, which sounds like a ton of fun to me. In a day and age where there is an overabundance of superhero movies from so many different companies, it can be exhausting. Now imagine trying to make a superhero movie when all of that is happening in real life. The escapism and wonder of it all is gone as he has to portray something that everyone is numb to in real life, and I think tackling this angle is going to feel really fresh. That alone sold me on this show and turned me into an overnight Wonder Man fan hopping on the bandwagon, but it's the casting that has me most interested. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II was not at all who I was expecting to play Simon Williams, but I love this casting. He's an incredibly underrated actor and someone who clearly has an affinity for superhero projects. He was great in Watchmen and as Black Manta, but I think he could be something really special here. Surprising casting choices always excite me the most because it usually means that the creative team has an inspired vision. Obviously, there's the example we all go to with Heath Ledger's Joker, but even someone like Robert Downey Jr. was considered a shock to play Iron Man, and look at how all that turned out. Isn't it crazy that he just never came back after Endgame? Isn't that wild how he's never returning? I honestly think Yahya is going to surprise a lot of people with how much life and energy he's able to bring to this character. It's only 18 seconds of footage we have to work with here, but the vibes he is giving off are perfect for this take on the character. Also, Trevor Slattery is here. As an Iron Man 3 defender, this is very important to me. I love that Marvel keeps finding ways to bring him back, whether it be in the one-shot or his surprise appearance in Shang-Chi. Ben Kingsley's eccentric failed actor is becoming a mainstay in the MCU, and I cannot get enough of him. It just makes sense to include him in the acting show, and it's a great example of world building in the MCU. I'm honestly so pumped to have him back. Even if he just acts as comedic relief, it'll be a joy to see him again. I can already tell he's gonna have such a fun relationship with Simon. I know the series doesn't release until over a year from now, but besides Born Again, this is my most anticipated MCU show. There's so much potential exploring this side of the universe, and I always love being introduced to new characters. Plus, it means we could be one step closer to finally getting a proper West Coast Avengers movie, and I am desperate for that. One new character who is finally set to get their own series is Ironheart. Announced all the way back in 2020, the series finished shooting over 2 years ago in November of that same year. Ironheart has been the victim of many delays, mostly due to the fact that Marvel originally wanted the series to drop before Armor Wars. And I guess those plans have clearly fallen through. But these delays have given them almost 3 years in post-production to finish the show. With a character like Ironheart, who is so CGI heavy, I can't tell you enough how glad I am that they were able to take their time on making this show look as good as it does. Back when Marvel was forced to crank out shows, they didn't have much time to finish the CGI. It was very noticeable at some points, but here we're not going to have to worry about that. They'll actually be able to render her full costume without it looking like a Fortnite skin, and that's going to be great to see. She'll be getting 2 new suits of armor in this series, as shown in the trailer. Okay, I'm not spoiling anything. In Wakanda Forever, she had her exosuit prototype, and then the armor Shuri helped her build. Here we get to see what Riri is capable of on her own as she finishes this design, and I am really loving it. I think what helps to make her Mark III armor look so good is the fact that it's mostly practical. There were some set photos a while back highlighting that, and I think it goes a long way. Part of what made the first Iron Man movie so special is that they did the same thing. The suits felt real and tangible because they were. But that idea got lost a bit as the years went on, and Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to put on the full suit anymore. Bringing that back here is great to see because it brings a whole new layer of authentic details added to her armor. I especially love her Mark IV design. That suit is so sleek, plus the white and gold coloring is clean as hell. It wasn't what I was expecting to be her final suit design, but I'm really rocking with it. The color change is going to stand out amongst the other costumes in the MCU with how striking it is, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the full thing in action. Bonus points for bringing back the piece-by-piece suit-up scenes, by the way. Those were dearly missed in the MCU, and I love to see that her armor is going to incorporate that into it. It's just another way to make this suit feel more tangible and add real stakes as pieces can fall off so easily without being replaced by nanotech. I don't really have much else to say on Ironheart from this footage. Someone who definitely was not me talked more about this show's leaked trailer in a video that you can watch here, so you should do that after you finish this and hear my full thoughts on this show and the direction they're taking it. I am really hyped for this though. The idea of science versus magic sounds like it'll be really interesting to explore. They are taking Riri in directions I was not expecting at all, which is always so exciting to me. It'll be really interesting to see her resort to doing bad things in order to build her superhero suit and make things better in the long term. It's an angle we haven't seen for a hero in the MCU before, and I think it'll make her feel really unique as a character. That, along with the rumored appearance of a certain Marvel devil whose name rhymes with Mephisto, may appear. Oh wait, I just said his name. Anyways, Ironheart is shaping up to be another sleeper hit for Marvel, and it can't come soon enough. What is coming sooner than expected, though, is the 3rd and final season of What If. Let me tell you, I got jump scared reading that this was dropping on December 22nd of this year. It caught me so off guard. Don't get me wrong, it's an exciting surprise, I just didn't think that Marvel would have it ready by then. Oh shoot, does that mean I can't put it in this video anymore? You know, I don't care, we're gonna make an exception, because Agent Coulson is in the trailer for this, and I think that supersedes all other reasoning. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, we continue to prosper in the face of adversity! Honestly, they should do an episode called What If Marvel Actually Acknowledged Their Longest Running Series? I think that'd be great and very long overdue. The main reason I wanted to talk about this, though, is that we're finally gonna see Captain America again. I have been waiting 3 very long years to see Sam with the shield, and this is a nice surprise to hold me over until Brave New World in February. Plus, the fact that he's gonna be in a Gundam-style mech suit, and apparently Moon Knight's gonna be in the episode, it feels like this show is made to cater directly to me, and I'm gonna eat it up. Nevertheless, I've always wanted to say that. It does severely bum me out that this is gonna be the final season of the show. What if is a concept with literally infinite possibilities, so to cut things short after only 27 episodes, it just feels wrong to me. I would have loved if we got a new season of this every few years as the MCU progressed and they kept exploring all these new universes. I get they want to wrap up the multiverse after Secret Wars, but this show should have been the exception. As disappointing as this may be, I hope they deliver on a strong final season with some huge episode ideas. Season 2 was a massive improvement on a solid first season, and it would be ideal if that trend continued here. I'll make another video as we get closer with predictions and pitches for what this season is going to have to offer, so stay tuned for that. While you wait, you do have this video to watch and you love that, right? You do love this, right? Anyways, we also got our first official look at Marvel Zombies, the spin-off from What If and a show that is actually releasing next year. Initially advertised as the MCU's first ever TVMA show. Hold on, what? Oh, I'm getting word that in the time since this show was announced, both Echo and Born Again have been rated TVMA. So as the third ever TVMA show in the MCU, it was officially announced back in 2021, and that was basically all we had until now. There was some cool concept art and information we got from interviews, but the show has been in limbo for a bit. It took a few years, but now we've finally seen something in motion, and thank God, I was getting sick of seeing that low quality concept art everywhere. Consisting of 4 episodes, Marvel is promising to bring a bloodbath, and I am really looking forward to that. Only having 4 episodes does concern me, but when it's that small, I have to assume it's being done specifically because that's all they need. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here, but they better not pull this kind of stunt again. There isn't much else to really say about this show. We only saw a tiny bit of footage. It's gonna be cool to see the fallout of zombie Thanos' invasion in Wakanda, or zombies raining from the sky, and Blade is Moon Knight, but otherwise there's not much. Wait, hold on, Blade is Moon Knight? Huh? Do I need to get my eyes checked? Am I seeing something? Are you trying to tell me that our first exposure to Mahershala Ali's Blade in the Marvel multiverse is him as one of the leads in a zombie show? And as the Fist of Khonshu? What? That is such an insane reality to live in, but I kinda love it. It's gonna be wild for people who are seeing Blade for the first time here, but I'm just glad that we'll at least be hearing Mahershala's Blade again. Don't worry, Eternals post-credit scene, I didn't forget about you. As a Moon Knight enthusiast, this is so wild for me. I'm glad to see his corner of the MCU bleeding over into interacting with other characters, but nothing could have prepared me for Blade becoming the new Fist of Khonshu. It's such an insane idea that it might just work. Honestly, knowing that we're gonna see Blade as Moon Knight shot up my excitement for this show by tenfold. Sorry, I have to keep saying Blade as Moon Knight because I can't believe it's real. What a world we live in, man. It's things like this that make me love the MCU. And speaking of the MCU, which is what I've been doing this entire video now that I think about it, Eyes of Wakanda is our first animated series set in the MCU's sacred timeline. Announced in... well, I actually don't know when it was announced. In 2021, we learned that Ryan Coogler was developing a show set in Wakanda, but I have no clue if it was this one. We only found out Eyes of Wakanda was officially in development in 2023 when they just casually announced it one day on Marvel.com of all places. So who knows how long this has actually been in development, but from the visuals alone, you can tell that a lot of love and care went into creating this series. It has my favorite animation style we've seen thus far for any Marvel show, and it isn't even close. I love this more hyper-stylized look of the universe so much, it really stands out amongst the rest of their 3D animated shows. I know we literally only got 2 shots, so it's hard to make any proper judgments, but I'm really vibing with it so far. Besides the fact that it's set in the MCU, which I think is really cool and hope to see more of, we know little to nothing else about this series. It is all but confirmed, though, that a past version of Iron Fist is going to make an appearance, which is more than enough reason for me to keep living. But besides that, they've kept plot details under wraps. All we know thus far is that it'll be an anthology series taking place in different time periods and showcasing the history of how Wakanda came to be. With such a rich culture and history to pull from, I think Eyes of Wakanda is going to be the one to watch out for. The Black Panther corner of the universe has never missed so far, and with Ryan Coogler involved in this, I have faith he's going to pull out a banger. The fact that it's all a mystery right now is so exciting to me. I love how little we know about it, and I hope it stays that way for as long as possible. In a day where scoopers and news outlets are ruining everything, it's nice to know nothing for once. No thoughts, head empty, just going into a project, being able to enjoy it for what it is without expectations. Wait, hold on, I just read that this show is also going to be 4 episodes long. Come on, man! Give us a little bit more! I can't believe they're making me miss the dreaded 6-episode events. I don't actually have a problem with it, especially with an anthology series like this, since the episodes aren't going to connect very much. As long as they're each 40 minutes to an hour long, I'll be satisfied. And finally, that brings us to Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Formerly known as Spider-Man Freshman Year, this series was announced in 2021 and was originally going to be canon to the MCU and showcase the origin we missed for Peter. Things very quickly changed as the show became more of a what-if story centering around the idea that Peter's mentor was Norman Osborn instead of Tony Stark. I think that changes for the better, as it's going to give them more creative freedom to work with, and they don't have to explain where Norman is in the MCU right now. Plus, it's always good to have more takes on Spider-Man out there. Except for you, Sony. You and Morbius can go to hell. It's just really nice to see something official from this show because it's been radio silence otherwise. And I definitely didn't watch any leaked trailer from D23. That's crazy to even suggest. I definitely didn't talk more about it in that video I keep referencing, where I gave my full thoughts on this series and the cast of characters in it. I don't like that you're accusing me of doing such a thing. Also, now that we're seeing it in clear motion, I really like the animation style here. The blend of 2D art inspired by the comics with 3D models gives it a really unique look and lets them play around with space in a fun way. It feels like a comic book come to life, and I'm really excited to see full episodes of that rather than just short clips and allegedly illegal trailer leaks that are out there somewhere. Oh, are you waiting for me to say more? That's all I have on this show, I'm sorry. They only gave me one single scene to work with here, that's all I got for you. I guess I hope that kid didn't die considering Peter flung a brick at his skull. Wouldn't want him to murder someone on his first day of high school, I would not recommend that. Trust me. Anyways, I think this show is gonna be great. It'll be refreshing to see a new take on the wall crawler as Marvel fully embraces animation with a show like this. It drops in January, so I assume we're gonna get a full trailer soon. There's a convention happening in a few days from when I'm recording this, so maybe it already dropped by now. That would be really awkward for me. You already have enough on your plate, Marvel. You do not have to screw me over on top of it all. Just wait until I finish editing this video to drop the trailer. After an interesting few years to say the least, Marvel Television's needed restructure is in full effect. In real time, we're seeing this new strategy as more low-budget, character-focused shows are being put into development, along with an expansion in the animation department. There's a re-established focus on quality now that they aren't being forced to pump things out to meet deadlines, and I think it's going to do wonders for the MCU's reputation. As you now know, all these projects have been in development for years and got the time needed to perfect them. I have a lot of faith that they're cooking up some really interesting shows that'll help expand the MCU in some fun ways. It's no secret that I love Marvel TV, but seeing them make these changes and fix the problems that were there plaguing these shows has me more excited than ever for its future. Next year is going to be an important one for them as they have to prove that they learned these lessons, and I'm really hopeful that they did. The variety in shows is already amazing and could give us some peak MCU if handled correctly. From Hollywood satire to grounded street-level action to animated zombie horror, they have it all. Marvel Television is looking to be back and better than ever, and I could not be more excited. Unless they put Stiltman and Daredevil, then I'd be more excited. Meet my demands, Marvel. You know what you have to do. Alright, you know what? On that note, I'm gonna go ahead and end things there. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed what I had to say, feel free to give the video a like, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. What 2025 Marvel show are you most excited for? I would love to hear what everyone has to say and continue the conversation down below. And if you want to see another video like this, you can click right over here. If you don't do it, they're gonna bring back the 6-episode event, so please subscribe to prevent that. I cannot go through another rushed finale. Please!